Morning, everyone. Sorry, the picture angle is not exactly yet perfect. I'm working on it to get high tech here. Okay. So, smiley face Mashiach. All right, you got to position the camera right to get the smiley face view of the world. It's so important to us. People tell me sometimes my smile looks funny. I'm serious. My father told me that. Someone told him that their friend told them that I should be more whatever. Smiley face Mashiach. What in the world am I talking about? Good morning. So I used to doodle, I suppose. And so I came up with this funny face of like the happy face with a crown and a squiggly beard and bayas. So it looks really cute. And I draw on things to make, if I write a birthday card to my child or something like that, it will have a smiley face Mashiach on it. And it would light them up. Good morning. It would light them up. So I like to draw that picture on things, like when I'm writing when I have to sign their homework. Who ever heard of signing homework? My parents didn't do that for me. But I would put, like, if he did well, I would put a smiley face Mashiach. Or if I give a card for him when I'm going to visit his school and we leave it on his desk with like candies in it. Okay? I put a smiley face Mashiach. So I did that on my soapbox in the mikvah. And I see this thing ridiculously with my name on it. Boker Tov, Boker So I thought that was very amusing. And then so what did I mean? But how did that idea speak to me? Smiley face Mashiach. Because I'm around so many grim people, okay? They don't get it, okay? I just said good morning to someone just now because I was testing this. What if I said good morning to everybody that I see? Flea Nader. That would be a hard challenge. But wait, if you have the mindset, I'm not thinking about anything, might as well say hello to somebody. Light up another person's face with a smile. Why not? K'mayim hapanim lepanim, like water reflects the face. Why don't we smile back at somebody? It's so weird. Wake up, world. So I'm facing the darkness of the world now, and I actually think that means that I've made a little bit of a dent. People are getting bothered. I was at a Farbrengen last night, Roman Goldstein. I put a picture of his beautiful pool. I don't know if that's an invasion of his privacy. Okay, forget I said it. We were Farbrengen there last night, and people shut me up. I was already silenced by being invited to speak somewhere and then be uninvited to speak somewhere for that very night. So he invited me because my son sort of set this up, right? So he said, so I'm all charged up. I wanted to speak. I wanted to inspire people, but he also did, which is fine. I mean, it's his house even. But I can't shut up, especially if I think that we're in a loop. Once I think we're in a loop, I'm out of there. And I did. I left. I thought we were in a loop. I got to speaking about some wild topics. I spoke about Yosef. I spoke about Asnas. Okay? Asnas is like my hero. That's someone who really overcomes trials and tribulations. Okay, Yosef also, right? He's the ultimate. That's the Yesod. That's the Yesod. The foundation is that integrity in the most difficult moment. So if you want the smiley face Mashiach, you have to embrace the flip side of that. Your ultimate fear has the opposite. There's your ultimate dream. And I'm telling you, everyone is an Adam. The dream unfolds before your eyes. Yes, spiritually, but it's unfolding before our eyes physically too. Mashiach is unfolding. I'm telling you, how do I know? Because I see Yeshua in my life. So I want to share that with you. Okay, you don't believe me? Okay, so maybe I'm lying or whatever. I see aspects of salvation in my life that I want to share with people. I think everyone owes that to their friends. Why not speak to people who are willing to listen? If people aren't willing to listen, just leave. Don't be around people that will not let you be yourself. Don't. If you're a speaker and you're somewhere, you speak. If you're not invited to speak, if it's specifically, then you decide whether you're going to show up. You're not going to shut me up. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep on getting louder like an idiot, okay? Why am I going to keep getting louder? Because I think people have to wake up. pathetic world we live in when people don't say hello back. Pathetic. That's not the world that I want to live. That's not why God gave us this. Look at other times in history, okay? Life becomes such a, Farbrengen has now become a history lesson, right? But use history as a launch pad to know where you come from. I know where I came from. They didn't have this. I'm sitting here without fear, like a total crazy guy broadcasting from a park, and I think the world's cool with it. So I think I'm obligated to do that. Wake people up to the glory that we have, the good that we have, and way more to come. That's why I think it says by Hashem, He does miracles for himself, meaning the Chachamim interpret it to mean Ein balan hanes yedeh b'nisai, I think the words are. The person who had a miracle happen to him doesn't even know it. So why bother doing it? God does not do a miracle in vain. It's always for a reason. He set laws of nature. That's his signature. He doesn't defile his signature. A miracle is something special. That's when you carve into the gem, the sapphire stone. You carve in the holy words that you're supposed to carve in. Different contexts, different things. I just lost my train of thought because I was on to a really important thing. Wow. It will come back. I'm going to segue into a different idea that I have, okay? We'll relate, I'll remember. I heard a story about the Baal Shem Tov, very fascinating. Okay, I don't know if I got it right. It doesn't matter, so it's my story, big deal. There was a person, I think it was the chariot driver, the wagon driver, rather, of the Baal Shem Tov. And he was a loyal servant. I don't even know if he was Jewish. I can't remember. Let's say he was Jewish. So, I think he was, I don't know. So he, I don't know what schus he had. Maybe it's because he participated in this Kvitzas Haderech and he didn't tell anybody because, I don't know his story. Maybe he was a drunk or something like that and was oblivious. But he was worthy of a tremendous reward. But he was a simple person. So what kind of reward do you give to a simple person? That's the important message. So they gave him, at first, something beyond what he was capable of containing. And he couldn't handle it. So the Baal Shem Tov, who had been the one to promote him to such levels, because he testified, I think, for this person's righteousness and whatever service that he did for the Baal Shem Tov, and in virtue of that, he would be worthy of the most incredible revelations, but he was a simple person. So he did get that, but in language he can understand. They gave him a chariot to soar through the expanse of heaven. Something that he related to. That spoke to him. So I thought about this, because the smiley face that I saw the picture of Mashiach on was on a box, okay? So it's reminding me of a building block, and I'm like, what's the connection here? It's like a building block. So I think about, when we were in the dentist, they'd have building blocks there and you make like a castle or something, a palace. So edifice, what's the foundation? A boy builds a palace of letters. You're gonna build a palace, okay? You're gonna have something that you're preoccupied or fascinated with, especially as a child, or if you have the childness, I can't say the word, childness quality in us, then you would still be able to identify with this idea that you have. They may be matchboxes, right? But you could build a palace out of them. They may be blocks, plastic blocks, but you can make a palace out of them. And what are those building blocks? Sefer Yetzirah in Kabbalah teaches us that those are letters. You build with letters. When it talks about bricks or stones building a house, that's talking about letters. So you can imagine the alphabet blocks that the child builds with. That's his edifice. if he realizes that the narrative that he creates for himself, or that's imposed upon him, as obviously will be the case of a child, he has his reality. The edifice of it is imposed upon him. So that's the worthiness and the importance of education. Make that smiley face Mashiach. Light up your child. Speak to people in ways that they relate to. What does it mean, Eifin Miskabel? Speak about Mashiach, but in Eifin Miskabel. So people are telling me what I'm doing is not Eifin Miskabel. It's not, I'm not saying things in ways that people can relate to. They're going to misunderstand. That's what this guy told me the other day. They're going to misunderstand my message. Wasn't that the claim for all history? That's why they only taught one person the secrets of the Torah. Why are we not reveling with the spoils of war, like David HaMelech says, with the secrets of the Torah that are now accessible and encouraged to be experienced by everybody? You have to learn Kabbalah, or Torah in general, but Kabbalah in particular, in a way that you live with it. It's your life source, your sustenance. It has to be in a language you understand. Don't give someone a gift they don't relate to. Speak to people in their love language if you want to use modern terminology. Else you're speaking a different language. You're speaking Chinese. Put on the face of the smiley face Mashiach. Ride your chariot of God, whatever that is in your life. Don't be ashamed of it. There's a child in you, and some people deny it, but it's still a child. They buy the Lamborghini. Come on, he's buying a Matchbox car. It's a dream that he had when he was a kid. And there's nothing wrong with it, I'm not saying. It's not my point. That's what people are going to misunderstand. So I always try and anticipate what people are going to misunderstand and say, no, I don't mean that. That's, I think, what it means to be sensitive. If you can figure out all the foibles that people have, or all their shortcomings and all their darkness and all the things that they find seedy in life and so fascinated by, you don't get it. That's the place you have to focus, but find some kedusha in that. My goodness, people, wake up. If you're not the type of guy to wear black all the time, don't do it. But know who you are. There's a story of the Rebbe Rashab, where a chassid, there's even one with the Rebbe, very similar story. Let's take the Rebbe Rashab first. Remind me about the Rebbe story. Oh, no, I gotta say in reverse order in case I forget. So the Rebbe had Mendel Footfast, my hero, right? He came to him always with his Polish fisherman's hat, right? In the, the Polish, the Russian style of Chassidim. He wore that to the Rebbe, where everyone else is wearing Barsalinos, because the Rebbe wore Barsalino. And one time he decides, you know what? I should present myself to the Rebbe. I'm going before a king. I should dress like in the way that's of the land, and that's what everyone's wearing. So he changed it, or I don't know his exact reason. But the Rebbe told him, he brought it to his attention that he changed his hat, like you mentioned it, and he told him that it's not for him. I find an amazing lesson in that. Does everyone have to conform? There's a kid in our yeshiva, gutsy kid. He happens to have a very dark complexion. Obviously, he has different, racial stream in there, obviously. So, but he also dresses a little bit unusual, which is fascinating that he'd have the guts to do that. He wore like a plaid, like a Chicago gangster style suit. Okay, we got some construction going on across the street. Sorry, not construction, it's garbage disposal. Sorry. So that takes a lot of character and guts. But the Rebbe identified that. So what does it mean to be a chassid? This is a topic that I'm going to probably be writing about soon. What does it mean to be a chassid? Does it mean that you have to embody the Rebbe as the Rebbe is, or embody the Rebbe as you are? That's the message, the 28th of Nisan. I've done all I can to bring Mashiach. I want your personality. You ride your chariot. Don't be ashamed if it's a Lamborghini. Use that to serve God. I heard recently about a shliach, I think it was the shliach in Chicago, who would take a Sefer Torah on Simchas Torah to the discos. And Jews would flock to him. So proud to identify with some holiness that the only reason why they're there is because they don't see that in our Torah, our holy Torah. They don't see that. That is a horror. And we are so ashamed and such sheep to not address people where they are. That's my message to the world. That's because I care. That's because people should care about other people. Speak to them in languages that they relate to. I got that from Y.Y. Jacobson, okay? If I'm his disciple in any sense, or a student, that's the most way. Also his love for the Torah and his ability to look into it on his own. That's the same thing, really. Like to not, I know I have a friend, Rabbi Markel, who posts stuff from Breslov now, and he's not worried, but he actually, people are talking about whether he's going to get tarred and feathered for, quoting other sources. That's ridiculous. It's so humiliatingly ridiculous. I know the context was fine, like they're just being friendly to each other. But the fact that they're talking truth, that's scary. When someone doesn't say hello back to you, that's a sick world. It's very sick. So the Mishnah says you should be the first one to say hello. Perkei Avos, right? Maktim shalom l'kol adam or something like that. What does that mean? So if both people are told the same advice, right? Okay, it's only for the pious, fine. So you get two pious people that want to be the first one. Can you imagine what that looks like? Keshipcho hamakabel gvirta. It says about the beautiful imagery. Is it this week's parasha? Or last week's? About the mountains that are so close, the peaks, that you could talk to your friend across to the other mountain. It was just a straight valley down. Fantastic image of a precipice. The precipice, you usually have a view here, is like there's another mountain right beside you. In this valley where the Jews were to walk through. And there were enemies hiding there ready to send arrows and catapult at them. So God made a miracle and made it kashipko, makabel virta. The positive and negative went in. It calls them their Shaddayim, interestingly. Good morning. Shaddayim, it calls them. But it means a protuberance, okay? That's what the word is. That goes into the space designed for it. And that destroyed the enemy. It's fascinating. But the Rashi describes it beautifully as a maidservant who goes to serve her mistress. Okay? If I'm translating it right. So there's a certain amount of veneration and alacrity. That's the way we have to take to our relationship with God. It has to have that. That means we have to see our way to get to God is through the Torah. You don't like it? I don't know. Get a different religion where you sit on your head or something like that. The Rebbe spoke about that. Oh my goodness, I saw something where it says on Yud Beis Gimel Tammuz, which we're celebrating today, Baruch Hashem. There was someone there who walked on his hands, I think across a beam, if I understood it correctly. And the Rebbe says that everyone has to express their connection to God in their own individual way. Everyone has to have the smiley-face Mashiach, something that resonates with them. That's Mashiach. That's what it means. That's what the Rebbe means by being ba'efin and miskabel. Speaking their language. Chas v'shalom, to deny them. Secrets of Torah are available now. Prophecy is inches away. I promise you. I promise you. How do I know? Because the Rebbe promised us. It's not my promise. It's the Rebbe's promise. So if he said Mashiach's coming, he'll be here at last, right? What is it? The singer Fogelman, I think, grew up with those words. He said Mashiach's coming, he'll be here. The Rebbe said Mashiach now. It's all about unfolding now to see that things are going good, that you have a relationship with God. That's what it's all about. It's a personal thing. God's going to take every person individually by the hand. That's what it says. Telekutu Kol echad v'Yisrael, I think the words are. He's going to gather. It's Zachariah or Yeshayahu, I don't know. Someone look it up for me. So he's going to take everyone by the hand individually. With if he's standing on his hands, walking on his hands, God cares about that person. That's a beautiful yin yang right there. Give the person reflexology, right? Find a way to relate to somebody. The way they're standing. Speak to people in their language. And smile at them and light up another person. Okay, I hope that was worthwhile because I didn't quote so many sources or anything, but I don't know. There's lots of sources available. You could learn Sefaria.org your whole life. Be very comfortable in your resources at your fingertips. What time is it? 9:17. Oh, wow. I'm like record breaking today. Maybe we go a little further. Maybe we'll take a short recess. Anyone have anything to say? Good morning. I hope we came out the right direction because I'm using it sideways. Never done that before. Okay, I'm gonna call it a morning. Move on to the next part of the morning, I think. I was gonna learn a bit of Hilchos Nevuah. Maybe we'll do a little bit more of that to keep that flowing, so that we don't have to do so much. I think we got about halfway through Halacha Ches in the laws of prophecy. No, not Ches, pardon me. Halacha Vav. It's Hilchos Yisei Torah, Perek Zayin, Halacha Vav, middle, okay? We were comparing the difference between Moshe and everybody else, because we're learning Parshas Balak, and Bilam was a prophet, superior to Moshe. Just unfathomable. I don't know how to understand that in any way. Someone explain that to me. Non-Jewish prophet, an evil prophet, that God was found so worthy of blessing him with communications and respect. Look in Rashi yesterday's Chitas. He cared about his respect, and he was a horribly perverted person. Disgraceful. He invented disgracefulness. His invention. And he was the one to bless the Jewish people, and specifically in the most lowly aspects, seemingly, or what he thought. When his sick mind looks at them, he praises their splendor. But he's a conduit for godliness to teach us something. That aspect of Nevuah is capable when we transform the most dark part of ourselves. You don't like the imagery of Dark Phoenix, come up with your own. I imagine Yosef as King Tut, like looking that way. When I wear a tallis, I say, wow, this is like King Tut. With all the lines coming out. I mean, this is thousands of years old. Our culture emerged from Yosef and Mitzrayim, which is really fascinating. It's really fascinating. And they went back to Egypt and lived there. The Jewish people lived in Egypt, in Alexandria, in this Egyptian culture and Greco culture for hundreds of years, I think, if I understand history right. I'm learning about it, I'm reading about it in the appropriate offices. So, Moshe Rabbeinu prophesied differently than everybody else. He did not have an visually ecstatic experience. He was Shushbina de Malcolm. When you're escorting the king, there's a composure. We're not like Hasidic Talk, who was described as being very wild. That group of Hasidim, the word, I don't know, we'll look at the etymology of an interesting word. Hasidic Talk is used to describe wildness, the lack of order. My biggest problem is that I may be lacking order in. I heard recently that people at my Purim party were, right before this all started with me, were scared of my delivery, and I don't even think I did anything. I certainly wasn't that drunk. So I scared these, some British people, so I have to be sensitive to that, but it's so hard for me. I know that there's a different audience out there, and you gotta know how much, it's very important. I agree with this criticism. You have to know your audience. Good morning, Joel. You have to know your audience and what they can handle, not in terms of the message. You have to be able to always say by from Miskabel, but you have to know your audience to know how much talk can they handle, how much wildness. There has to be an order. That's the way of Chabad, is to bring order to it. So that's what's bothering people the most about the changes in Beis Mashiach, and maybe the changes they see in people around them. Even Y.Y. Jacobson, I think he gets tons of criticism, and that is so pathetic. So pathetic. That's the worst. That's the person that I have to focus on. All my criticism is on people that are waking others up, telling people It's okay who you are. Find out who you really are. Where is it? What is it coming from? That's the most introspective, important psychological process that people have to undergo before they can take a step in Avodas Hashem. You cannot take a single step until you know who you are. What language should you speak to people in or be spoken to in? What language should you read in? Should you be able to express parts of yourself? Is it appropriate? Have someone you trust to guide you if you need that. Well, I mean, everyone needs that, the Rebbe says. It's not so easy to find someone that really you can trust. The buck stops with you. Always be the person to make your decisions. That's a gift from God. Don't ever. You take everything you hear as words from God that you have to understand in the ways that you could hear, and have integrity to really to know the emes, do the Shem Shemayim. That is the challenge. Everyone. Okay. Rabbi Deitch, nice to see you. Maybe I should say some worthy words like some Rambam on the Hilchos Nevuah. Okay. Everyone else had to make like a fabring and be able to have prophecy. Moshe Rabbeinu did not. Anytime he desired, the Holy Spirit would descend upon him, and he wouldn't even have to focus his mind. Because he's an angel. He's the sapphire, the aspaklaria hameira, this clear lens that allows you to see the truth as it is. That's why the Torah comes from Moshe. That's why that determines what every Jew really is and what his real identity is through the Torah. That is his identity. So find yourself in the Torah. Understand the Torah. If someone has a problem with you, let them show you where the Torah is wrong, not where you're wrong. Who cares about you? What does the Torah say? Show me. I had someone tell me, das ist nicht Yiddishkeit, on my talis bag. He said it better than me. Das ist nicht Yiddishkeit, he said. I had Yechia Melech at the time on my talis bag. Because the Rebbe said Yechia Melech. He has a whole sikh of Tavshem Ches. Beis Nissan, right? Well, you're saying Yechia Melech, that you give strength to the king by saying that. So that's what was the focus of Chabad for years. The emes of Chabad. I think we have to take that call has to be more deep now. That's all I'm saying. Different. You have to scream out from the depths, Yechia Melech. So he tells me, das ist nicht Yiddishkeit. I said, why do you think this is not Judaism? Where's your source for that? He says, when I grew up, my parents never brought me up to such things. The Rebbe says that himself, that there's people that are saying that about himself, about his own direction of the Chabad, his own people. The Spitz are coming up speaking against him. This was never part of our Rebbe's traditions to be so forthcoming about Mashiach. Don't you know people are going to understand that? They identify it with a different religion. They have no idea. And if not a different religion, a sickness of our religion, a bastardization of our religion. How could they hear such a concept? Das ist nicht Yiddishkeit. I didn't grow up with that. The Rebbe answers the person. The Rebbe is our leader. If he says Yechia Melech, yes, that is Yiddishkeit. Okay, I'm rest assured it's more than this person. So I let loose a bit. I said, well, what do you know about halacha? Which was a ridiculous thing for me to say, but it just blurted out of me. I just was so angry with him, telling me that he's the judge, the arbiter of what Judaism is. I said, learn the sikh with me. Learn what the Rebbe says Yechia Melech. He says, whatever. So I went to him to apologize, obviously. I was wrong for me to retaliate like that. A man doesn't retaliate. That's a girly man. A man says, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I'd like to discuss the sources with you. That is the order, the Masuder aspect of Chabad. That's Chabad. Yes, there's a time to express yourself more when it's your audience, right? If you're asked to speak, I warned Rabbi Austin. I warned the authorities of the yeshiva. That's maybe why I just didn't end up speaking, possibly. Remote possibility. But I warned him the night before at his bar mitzvah celebration. Also, I warned him, you might not want me to speak because I'm going to speak from the heart, and it might scare people. I didn't end up speaking. I went somewhere else. Didn't have to speak him there either. I spoke a bit. I got sashed basically. Which is, there's something to be said about that. My children there, they were very supportive. It was awesome. Not quite supportive enough. They didn't walk out with me. No. Chas v'shalom to have any people like that. That's where they are. I just want them to know there's an alternative. This was not a barbecue. This was a farbringen. It was worthy topics. I wanted to introduce some teichen from a different perspective, but more in terms of form, in terms of discussion. Torah ideas more rather than just general inspiration, which I think does not last long enough. I think images resonate more with people, or a certain crowd at least, and to bring that out in the Torah, to let them hear the Torah as life rather than idea. You have to live the idea. That's what a farbringen is for, and that's the honest and appropriate time to talk. So if you don't want me to speak, just be forewarned. I'm going to speak whatever I feel. I don't care where, I'll speak whatever I feel. I will try and estimate the audience, obviously. If I'm speaking to English as a second language people, I probably would speak completely differently if I knew that. You have to obviously estimate your audience and know what you could say, or how you can deliver a thing. But your content can never change. There's one message to the world. That's the smiley face Mashiach. So bring that to the world, because only you know how to draw that smiley face. And it could be anything, your language. I mean, if it's your, I don't know, the fancy way you dress to the world, or however you interpret. I called it different words a week or two ago. But I don't know, it's time and place. I don't like to overemphasize. People get the wrong idea. It's true. This message is true. But I'm not going to be silenced because of it. I will fine tune because of it. Have a great day, everyone. Tremendous brachas. Oh, I didn't finish one thing. I didn't finish that. Okay. Baruch Hashem, I remembered. So what does it mean? It's not just what does he do the miracle for? The person that had the miracle done to him doesn't know about it, so what for? He does it levade. He does it for himself, levade. Not just to mean that he conceals it, but there's a reason. It's because if it was overt, if that level of love was overt, you wouldn't accept it. You would say, die. You would say, die. Enough already. I want an opportunity to be worthy, but God just gives. That is Adam. Giving. So if God's just giving, he has to conceal it because you're terrified to receive such blessings. You are terrified. That's what's holding us back. You don't know what you're going to do with such an intimate relationship when you have so much power and miracles that you're feeling. So he does miracles levadai because he wants to give you a gem, a sapphire, a brilliance in your life. Whatever you identify with, the chariot of God, he wants to give you to race across the skies of heaven. Whatever image, okay? There's lots of images in Torah so that things will talk to different people. Even the wagon driver in us. Good morning. That is something that I want you to take with you for your day. So when he does miracles for himself, the key is, if you want revealed miracles, don't be afraid of throwing yourself in a relationship with God, taking it seriously, making it real. Don't be afraid of that. That will strip away the veil, because God would know he will not be rejected. You don't know what's a blessing in your life. Have integrity to accept it as a gift from God. That is our mission. That is what I'm screaming at everyone about with a smile, I hope. I want to be the smiley face Mashiach, comic character or whatever. if I'm gonna, like, everyone's like a comic character of Mashiach, sort of, okay? Because there's some aspect of, oh, we know the real thing is a real leader. That's the Rebbe. That's what we're celebrating today, when the Gimel Tammuz becomes Yud Gimel Tammuz 10 days later, when you have the Shleimus, the Adam, when you approach the Adam, when you look at Gimel Tammuz with the perspective in the eyes of an Adam, you will say this is an opportunity to celebrate the unfolding of Mashiach. Eschalsa Geula and Gimel Tammuz is this day now, 10 days later, the Adam, the Shleimus, the perfection, the wholeness. That's when you bench Gaimon. Thank God for all the good that's unfolding now.